Welcome to the Positive Pants Podcast. Mindset, motivation, and inspiration to help you find your positive pants. It's time to let go of negative thinking, understand why you do what you do, and stop the self-sabotage with your host, Fran Excel.
Welcome to the show. As always, it's Fran Excel, your resident subconscious success mentor, helping you find your very own pair of positive pants so you can get out of your own way and live a life that you love. If you want to stop sabotaging your own success and let go of the stress, then you are in the right place, my friend. Make sure you download your free Stressed to Success guided meditation at bit.ly/stressed to success as my little gift to you for being here. Please do subscribe, share, review. It really, really helps people that need to hear this message find us, and I so appreciate it. In the show notes, you will also find details of how you can work with me and where you can get your mitts on my meditations, products, and printables. You can also find it through the link in my bio on Instagram, which is my second favorite place to hang out. So please do come join me over there at I'm Fran Excel. Tag me in your takeaways, slide into my DMs. I am here for it. So that is the formalities over, my love. So let's jump into the content. Just before I start, I still have my little favor to ask. If you haven't filled in my very short questionnaire, 2 minutes, pinky swear. Oh, poet, didn't know it. So I want to make sure I'm creating what you really want and need from my content, services, and products. So if you would like to help a gal out, I would be so grateful if you take a couple of minutes to fill in a super quick couple of questions for me. The link is in the show notes. And the link is also in my bio on Instagram. And if you are on my email list, you will have been sent it as well. This way, I'm not making any assumptions because we all know what happens there. And I can help you have your best year yet, whatever it decides to throw at you. So, what do you do to look after your own well-being? I am continuing on my theme of being a bit softer, gentler, and kinder to yourself as we softly catchy monkey our way into 2021. There is no denying that these last 9 months have been weird, bizarre, emotional, scary, sometimes great, sometimes really not so much, confusing, a roller coaster, a pressure cooker of WTF is actually happening, right? It's a collective trauma, and we need to acknowledge that. So if you haven't listened yet to last week's episode about watching out for the rules that we create for ourselves, then please go have a listen to that. The focus of this episode is to help with something I know so many of us are, shall we say, out of practice with. And that is being kind to ourselves and putting our own well-being first. Well, let's be honest, even putting our own well-being on the table. Yeah. Something that has come through from my "what would you like to learn from me" questionnaire has been that many people really don't know where to start when it comes to looking after their own well-being. So I thought I'd share a few things to spark some ideas, things that I feel are important, things that I do myself, things I'm only just starting to experiment with. If you've been following me for any amount of time, you'll know that I'm bang on about curiosity. Curiosity is one of my core values. So because of that, I'm really open-minded to trying new things, and then I'll make up my own mind. I don't listen to what people tell me it should be. Yeah. So approach this with that in mind. I'm not telling you should do anything. It's just a couple of ideas to spark things and a little insight into what I do. So it's really important to state that these are all things that I do because I've researched whether they're right for me. So make sure you're doing your own research before, because there's no one size fits all, and I'm not a health professional. So do your homework, kids. Yeah. And if there's anything you want to hear more about, then please do slide into those DMs on Instagram and let me know, because I will bring on an expert and do a well-being series for you. It's actually something I've wanted to do for a really long time, but thankfully, because of my questionnaire, go fill it in. it's actually come to the forefront. I didn't know if it was going to be something that you would want. Now I know it is. So running a business and personal development and growth go hand in hand. You can't really have one without the other. So I'll start with my tried and tested ways to look after my own well-being. And if, again, you've been with me any amount of time, you'll know that my go-tos already. I've done a few episodes on my own personal routine and I talk about them a lot. You guessed it, journaling and meditation. I need to be clear. When I started using them in my life, I was pretty clueless of the whys and the hows. I was just intrigued and committed to researching and finding ways to make them work for me and fit into my life because I'd seen so many of the benefits talked about elsewhere. And I really needed them when I started. But this is a lifelong thing. Yeah, there will always be messages and delivery that don't really resonate with us. So please don't be put off from trying something because of that. Yeah. For example, I don't love certain fluffy language. There are certain words that send a shiver down my spine of cringe. You know, I just can't get into it when it's about that. So I would look for ones that did resonate. So for me, that's when people talk about science or they seem really down to earth, or they talk about the brain or rewiring neural networks. That's my language. So I would go for those in my meditations. So I really resonated with Calm, the Calm app to start with. That's what I used to use. Completely recommend it. But I've upgraded hugely and use Muse now, Muse. It's incredible. It's definitely on the pricey side, but if you're serious about getting into meditation, it is an amazing tool to help you improve your practice. It measures your brain waves and plays them back to you as weather. I've talked about it before, but I absolutely love it. It's right up my Strava because you can measure progress and you can course correct, and it makes creating that habit so much easier. I still use it now. I also create my own meditations now too, drawing on different techniques that I've learned through my studies. So I use a lot of visualization, some NLP sometimes, a little bit of hypnotherapy might be thrown in there for good measure, and all about working to regulate your nervous system, all this fun stuff. I created the Stressed to Success meditation that I talk about all the time. That is free for you to go and grab and give a go. The link is in my bio on Instagram, on my website, franexcel.com, and in the show notes too. So you really can't miss it. I bang on about it all the time because I think it's really, really blooming good, if I did say so myself. So same with journaling. It's finding a style that works for you. I like practical, minimal, where I know I'm following a specific approach that's been tested. So the journals with loads of color and pictures and swirly whirly goodness, I can love the aesthetic, but I know I'm probably not going to use it because I won't use it as a tool. I've got this beautiful journal. I won't name it because this is me. It's absolutely stunning, but I haven't been able to touch it because it's confusing. It's too swirly. I don't feel like I'm doing it with purpose. So that's what I'm about. But this is me. You might be different. Experiment. Be curious. There's the obvious ways to look after your well-being, like being outside, getting in nature, bubble baths, etc. I'd love to tell you that exercise is one of my go-tos, but it actually isn't. And I've talked about my struggles with body image and exercise in the past. I'm working on that one, so it doesn't feel like a chore. There's actually something, I won't tell you about it yet until I've tried it, but there's something that I've found that I think I'm going to really, really resonate with and love. So I will keep you updated on that. Make sure you're following me over on the gram because that's where I tend to talk about all this stuff in real time. But even though exercise, you know, your stereotypical view of what exercise isn't my go-to, even though I know it would be incredibly beneficial. Movement is. So you can find me on the daily, either in the kitchen or my office, moving my body into weird shapes and flows to music. I mean, it's kind of dancing, but it's also probably not the kind I would do in public. I kind of go where my body wants to go. And I've got different playlists that I use to create this. I also walk a lot as well. But again, movement in a way that you enjoy and feels good is always going to be a winner. Similarly so is singing. Really, really good for the nervous system and helping you regulate your nervous system. If I ever feel off and I get curious about it, I can often attribute it to that I haven't belted out some tunes in a while. It's a real quick turnaround. And I did a story on Instagram again recently about this, belting out Mark Cohen's version of Walking in Memphis. A classic, peeps, a classic. It honestly never fails to make me feel good, no matter what mood I'm in to start with. Next thing is breathing. Oh my goodness. We so underestimate the power of our own breath. It is an incredible tool that we have access to 24/7. Meditation is obviously a big part of this. It's obviously incorporated into that. But doing all this sort of stuff, it's made me really incredibly conscious of my own breathing, which is not something that we naturally do. So I know I'm naturally quite a shallow breather, particularly if I'm in the middle of something or I'm stressed. Even when I'm just sitting doing my work, I will consciously take some slow, deep belly breaths. I do this all the time. I'm a really, really big fan of breath work. The first time I did proper breath work, the emotional release was insane and took me by surprise. Now, I'm always saying, because it's almost like I haven't done my job if someone's on a call and they haven't cried at least once with me. But these things that make us cry is always a good thing because it's such a release. It releases the hormones, it releases that energy, all of these things. So never stop yourself from crying. Do it consciously, but don't stop yourself or try and suppress anything. Anyway, for breath work, you can look up Wim Hof, which is WIMHOF. He's known as the Iceman. And another of my faves is a lady called Samantha Skelly, because she's a lot of fun. She makes me chuckle. She's got my sense of humor. Actually, one thing that I do with my breath work, because it makes your extremities cold, so you get this cold tingly in your fingers and your toes. So I actually have a weighted blanket that I love for things like this. So when I meditate, or if I take a power nap in the day, which I talk about as well, and if I'm doing breath work, then I will cover myself in my weighted blanket. It's amazing. It's like a hug. Love it. So back to where I was. I love a bit of woo. People always ask me, are you woo? And it won't be a surprise to you to say that I'm woo curious. I'm on the woo spectrum. I love it. Don't get me wrong. I honestly do. But I also love a little evidence. And I don't love the woo packaging, so to speak. But I don't let it put me off. Curiosity, right? I check my ego and say, do I think there could be something to this that could benefit me? And if I do, I will research and I will find a teacher who resonates with me. Yeah. There's all sorts of things. Like if you look into ancient techniques that science is now catching up to, I think it's always worth approaching these things with curiosity, right? So for me, it's about tuning into what I feel I need, but actually getting in touch with that. We're so disconnected to our bodies, right? For example, I've been talking about tiptoeing into 2021. There are days where I'm ready to have real clothes and an actual bra on for like half an hour. Then there are days where I kind of know that my sweatpants and blanket under the fire are what's going to get me my best, is what I need. But it's always a conscious thought and decision. I don't allow myself to get caught up in excuses, but it's what's going to make me feel good today. Just asking that and kind of, I always do it with my eyes closed. Like, what do I need to feel good today? What's going to make me feel good today? And usually, even if I'm in my onesie, of which I have several, I'll still put on some makeup and I might do my hair. And in my onesie, usually I'll spritz my ridiculously expensive Penhaligon's perfume for no other reason than it makes me feel really good. Same thing with like luxury body oils or moisturizers. It's just noticing what makes you not feel great and doing the opposite, which for most of us actually doesn't come so naturally, even though it makes perfect common sense. So common sense and common action are two very, very different things, right? So now going on to a few of the things I've been trying. Now, my curiosity was very satisfied this Christmas. I got the full set of the Bach flower essences. So if you've heard of Rescue Remedy, that's the guy. I can't remember his first name now. Bach basically developed this entire modality of healing using flower essences. So I got it for Christmas and I'm like a kid in a candy store. I'm mixing my own blends and they really make a difference for me. So I'm massively geeking out on that at the moment. And if I can find an expert to come on and talk to you guys about it, then absolutely I will, because I want to have the conversation anyway, because I've got about 20 books that I now need to read. So next one is essential oils. In a similar vein, they have long been a staple of mine. I use them in my diffuser every single day. And I know a fair bit of the basics of what helps with what ailments, but I'm not an expert. And the reason I've put them in things I'm trying rather than under my essentials is because I've got so much further to go with it. More qualifications, here I come. Another one that I added in 2020 was CBD oil. I talked about this on my stories as well. This was an addition to my routine probably in the last kind of 6 months. So again, you really need to do your own research on this, because I tried one a year or so ago, maybe a couple of years ago, and it did nothing for me. I got into it because I'd read about the benefits, and I got it for my mum and dad because they hadn't been well. So I wanted them to try it. So I got some for myself. I just couldn't understand the hype and all the reports of incredible benefits for anxiety and all these things. My mum was loving it. But I persevered and found the one that works for me. And I am, honestly, 100% a convert. So you need to do your own research on that. Like I say, I am not a health expert by any means. It's just something that I've added to my own personal routine that supports my well-being. You're going to have a lot of fun on Google after this episode, let me tell you. Another thing I've added is alkalizing greens. Now there's something I added to my routine about 2 months ago, and I honestly really do feel better for it. I found a brand I like. It doesn't taste disgusting. And I have it every single morning while I'm making my Earl Grey without fail. And it's just a powder that you can mix into water or juice. Again, have a Google, friend. Now, if you're on my email list, you'll already know this next one because I talked about it. But I'm really loving cold showers. Oh, yes. By the time this goes out, I think I'll be on about day 14. So it's still new, but I honestly noticed a difference super quickly. So again, you can look up Wim Hof for this one too. WIMHOF. I started with just 15 seconds at the end of my shower and the breathing techniques that you need to incorporate because it's cold, but I'm already at the minute mark and I've noticed a real difference to my energy and my mood, and it gets so much easier. It's actually something I really enjoy doing now, whereas to begin with, it was something I dread. And the Hubs is going to be trying this one too, but he keeps chickening out at the moment, but he is going to try it. So I'm also learning about sound healing frequencies. So I've listened to binaural beats and solfeggio music for a really, really long time, but I'm looking into how sound healing works. You see a lot of people with these sound bowls and all of this stuff, and it comes through meditation music a lot. And I've got some solfeggio frequencies tuning forks, and they've just arrived, and I am in love. So I know no more about it just yet and how you actually work with the tuning forks and things like that. I just know that sound has some immense healing properties for various ailments, even down to cuts and grazes and arthritis. So that's something I'm looking into at the moment as well. And again, if I can find an expert to come on, I absolutely will, because I find it so fascinating, all of these different modalities. Oh, pretty good that I'm a geek, really, isn't it, on this stuff? There are loads more. Yoga, reading, Qigong, which is a style of moving meditation, like Tai Chi. There's grounding that I do all the time, mainly in the summer, let's be honest. Don't want to go outside with bare feet, but there's ways that you can ground when you're inside as well. I'll probably be bringing out a grounding meditation and add that to the roster, but way too many to go into in one short episode. But these are my tried and tested go-tos and what I'm doing at the moment, what I'm researching, what I'm looking into. Be playful with it. I was really surprised how many people wanted me to talk more about my general well-being techniques, but I am totally here for it if that's what you want. So please do let me know if you enjoyed this episode, and anything that you want me to delve a little deeper into, please do let me know. I am happy to deliver, mainly because it's fun for me, but also because I really want to encourage you to start putting yourself first. And if I can help be a little bit of a catalyst for that, then I am all for it. So when it comes to looking after ourselves, I think it's the more the merrier in terms of ideas, but being choosy. Pick something that resonates, do your research and give it a go, and be conscious of the difference that it makes for you. Now, I don't want you to go trying to add all of these things into your routine all at once or at all. You need to find what works for you, and that can involve a little trial and error. But also, in the spirit of the previous episode on rules, I want you to softly, catchy monkey your way into these new routines. Start small. Try to keep one small promise to yourself every day and see how even that gives you a huge shift in the way that you feel about yourself. You'll notice that inner critic starts to quieten down. You'll increase in confidence and self-belief. It sounds like a bold statement for doing something so small, but it's true. Think about how many times a day you break a promise to yourself and beat yourself up for it. Now think, how would it feel if you managed to keep one small promise to yourself every day? Different, right? And the bottom line is, to perform at your best, you need to be able to feel your best and know what helps you create your best. So tune in to your body and ask yourself, what would you love? And what do you need? What's going to make you feel good today? Your body won't lie to you. So if you've got value from this and you know in your gut that now is the time to step up and start rewiring your thinking and start changing things for yourself, then please do book in a free discovery call so we can work out what needs to happen to get you from where you're at right now to the action-taking success you know you can be. If you want my eyes and ears on your problems, then I do work with people one-on-one and through the Proactive Pants program. You can find all the details to book in a call in the show notes, the link in my bio on Instagram, and on my website, franexcel.com. So stop waiting for if and when and choose to change things now, because you can. I am here to believe in you when you don't believe in yourself. And as always, I hope you found this helpful. And as always, I will see you next week. Bye.